We are Indie Attack, coming to you today with a list attack for more of our best games of the second half of the year of 2014, the year of our Lord, that we actually played on this channel, and may have not actually been released this year. Today we're going to be talking about narrative. Specifically, the
Yes.
best narratives in the games that we have played up to this point. Narrative is kind of a subjective thing a lot of the time, but overall I think we feel these five games, they're probably about the best ones we've got.
Definitely. And I think we had some pretty strong narratives, ultimately, this from what we've played. So, without further ado, best narrative of 2014.
Price of Freedom, Innocence Lost.
The Dog of Dracula series.
Westport Independent.
Alethicorp.
And With Those We Love Alive.
And the winner is The Price of Freedom, Innocence Lost.
Now, this was a game based around choice, where you were a small slave child who became a gladiator in ancient Rome. Compared to most of the other games we played, this was a pretty straightforward narrative, but in terms of its actual game design centered around that narrative, it matched the choices you make in the story with a stat-based system. Based off, if you trained in running, you'd be better in running. If you trained in strength, you'd be better in strength. And then those would come into play later on in more critical moments, when they could mean life or death.
Definitely. I think that's a really key part of why it kind of got pushed over the top in our minds, because some of these are in the interactive fiction category, and yeah, the impact that your decision making has in Price of Freedom is really tangible to the experience, and it's both it's a tailored narrative, but also one that has that room for the player choice, and it sort of balances between those two in a really awesome way. I think it's also a game that encompasses a lot of emotion and just sort of like has the complete package as far as the narrative. It's sort of emotional at first, there's the adventure, uncertainty, and then sort of this character that literally grows up in front of you. Just a lot of stuff going on there.
And yeah, I think that sums it up pretty nicely. This is probably the best combination of gameplay and narrative that we had. We really liked all of the other games that were in this one. This was a pretty difficult one to choose, and as we said, narrative is pretty subjective. But I found this one to probably be the most interesting one of all the ones we played.
Definitely, yeah, and we specifically said narrative instead of story, because we felt that narrative encompassed a broader range of what the possibilities are for in a game, because like a narrative can be a lot of different things. It's very subjective, and yeah, we also this time have some honorable mentions. Mine is a very recent game that we played called Overpowered, and I chose this one because I really thought it was a well done, bite-sized sort of mini narrative. It's a complete experience that you play all at once, and I thought it was humorous. It bent the medium, had fun with it, and left me feeling happy after completing it. And yeah, I just thought it was really, really well written and really fun to experience.
And my honorable mention this time around is going to be Five Nights at Freddy's. These games don't necessarily have a lot of upfront story, which is actually why I like them. Similar to, it's an odd comparison, but Dark Souls and the Souls series in general, the narratives in these are kind of about searching out what information you do get to construct a timeline and construct the events of the series and try and figure out what might be going on. And there's a surprisingly large amount of mythology behind all of the events that happen in these two games, and I really like the twist that came about later on in the series in regards to how that timeline plays out.
Yes, agreed. And yeah, that is our narrative award list attack, and we're gonna keep on trucking with more best of 2014 for the rest of the week.